Hi, welcome to the Career Corner. My name is Heather Swift, and I'm delighted to be your host. The purpose of the Career Corner is to help people move from career distress to career success. Today I have two special guests that are very sweet, both literally and figuratively, in how they work and what they do. My first guest is Laura Himmelein, who is the event designer and owner of Party Cake, and also a co-founder with her co-founder here today, Janine Territo. Thank you both for joining me today on the Career Corner.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
So I thought it would be great to talk about, first, Laura, your evolution of loving, baked goods and all the sweet stuff, literally, that you've created that are so adorable, and turning that into like event planning and design and other things. And then I want to dive into also how you two came up with this idea. I believe this was your baby, and then you brought this lovely lady into this, Janine, yes, of creating parties for kids and for people that wouldn't necessarily be able to be celebrated. So I'm so happy we can discuss both of these two great things. So Laura, your evolution, talk to us about this. How did you first know that you were meant to do something like this?
Well, I didn't. It was sort of a roundabout way that I realized that I was meant to do this. But it kind of first started when I was sitting during some downtime at the end of a production scheduled magazine, and I was busy cutting out pieces and doing all sorts of crafting.
And tell us about that, because you were doing prom issues, right?
Yes, I was doing prom
I remember
issues.
that. I remember many train rides with you talking about prom. It's prom time.
Exactly. It was prom season, and prom season for me happened to be in heavy in the end of October and November for production purposes. But I was there busy working, and my assistant saw what I was doing and was like hovering over. She wound up going on later and working at Parenting Magazine, and she had this Halloween story. They needed some cupcakes and other things for Halloween's, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I've seen all these things that you've done. I think you should do this." And I thought, well, okay, sure. I was so nervous and excited by the opportunity, and I was looking at all different kinds of things that people did. And there was a book, Hello Cupcake. I don't know if you know of it. And she was doing really great things, and I started really delving in and enjoying it so much, and wound up having some success, and they liked the things that I came up with, and I did a few more articles and things for them, and then I realized that I wanted to sort of, quote unquote, take the show on the road and start doing it locally.
Pop out of the magazines and into people's mouths, literally.
Exactly, exactly. So I got into that, and I started doing baking and kind of crafting the baking, because it wasn't so much, believe it or not, just about the cupcake itself and what you were eating, but about how it looked, and working within the themes that were provided or given to me or I created, from everything from pirates to mermaids to you name it, and taking the candies and creating them and providing them for birthday parties, which I really loved. And I then realized that I really loved getting into these themes.
It wasn't just the one item, it was the whole, everything connected to
that.
It
Connected to it. And I'd have to I would put so much detail in it. And to be quite honest, the amount of time and detail that you put into one cupcake, how much money do people want to buy for one cupcake? So I started realizing, okay,
this is the $20 cupcake.
Right, and where can you... So how can we adjust this? Can I, people would say, well, how can you streamline it or pare it down? And that's my thing, where it's like, I can't pare it down. It's like, then that's half of it. And then it dawned
half a
on
mermaid,
me. Right, or if you look at, say, for, I did these pirate ones that were little beaches and oceans, and then little treasure chests with candies and all. And people are like, well, can you just do one of those for the kids? And you go, I don't know, but then it feels like they're not getting as much. And that's how I started getting into the parties, or thinking, what can I do that can actually make this a little bit more profitable, marketable. And I actually met with my uncle, who's a business owner and successful business owner, and was asking what
always good to have a mentor.
Yes, exactly, which I definitely recommend. Anybody that you admire, look to, ask them. You might be afraid, but they always are really useful. I found
love
that they're
to talk about the bumps in the road
and giving their what they've learned. They want to pass that on. And it was one thing, and I had an idea actually. And tell me if you want me to jump on ahead or.
Well, no, but I want to find out too. Like when you're getting ready to really launch this as, okay, I'm a brand and I'm doing this, but so much more now. And does
Right.
one have to get like backing for that, or is it more just kind of growing organically?
Well, for me, it was
And,
growing organically. And what I was doing too was something that I wanted to do that didn't need a lot of startup. So I came up with one idea that I thought, okay, let me see if this is, I think it could be really great. I think it could be a really great marketable idea. But my uncle was very honest and saying, okay, well, do all the research. See, you have to love it. You're going to be doing it all the time. And I
You'll be living this,
realized
yeah.
that it was turning me into a manufacturer.
Yes.
And some people, they know, that's what they've done. You know, they know how to order, they know how to deal with all the logistics of setting up factory, dealing with your connect. And I realized soon that that wasn't
That wasn't
me.
near and dear to your heart. Yeah.
That wasn't.
You
And
didn't
that
want
was
to be the
also
next hostess cupcakes.
right.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and so I thought, well, what is it that I really do? And it brings back to something that I think is really, really important, is to do what comes easy. That would have been turning me into a direction I had no experience, nothing. And while you'd have to have a passion for it. I can't just be, oh, well, I want to make this a profitable idea. That's a great idea. It can't always be that way. If you make it something that's more, that comes naturally, I think that you can withstand the grueling hours. It's not that it's not easy, but I think people really have a tendency to undermine the things that come easy to them because they think it's not as valuable. They think they have to work hard and struggle, and that's not to say that your own business isn't going to be one that you're going to be
tricky,
putting
yeah,
every single,
yeah.
I mean, it's true, it's 24/7, it never ends.
And I noticed on your website it says open 24 hours.
Right, exactly, and it really is. And the fact is that
Yeah.
that's, in order for it to be successful, you have to come in knowing that that's what you're going to do. So if it's a struggle, how are you going to withstand that? If it's something
Yeah.
that doesn't come easy, it seems hard and difficult. So you have to kind of look back, what are those things? Maybe for you, it's you're always the one that's organizing things. You're the one that comes in and can make, take chaos, organize. And you might go, oh, that's not, I do that all the time. And you undermine
But
it.
someone else, that's like
But to
saving their lives.
Oh my
Like, thank
gosh,
you, where
to
have you
most
been?
people,
Yeah.
it's saving their
Yeah.
lives. But
Yeah.
you might think, oh, it's nothing. And so you sit there thinking, oh, should I try to be an accountant, or a salesperson? And
Yes.
all of those things, I think that then can kind of put you on a course that actually might not be the right one for you.
No, I think those are great ideas to think about, because I think people do think sometimes to be successful there needs to be more of a struggle. If it comes easy, they don't give it the credit.
Absolutely.
That's
They
due.
don't. They just are, oh, well, that's nothing. That's really. And so I found that for me, it was the thing that everyone used to tell me that I was like, oh, you should do this when I was younger. Which
So there was already a sparkle of
Right.
this theme of creativity and planning and organizing. So when was your first event? How old were you with your first event? What was it?
I was about 10 years old.
That's a good age to start. The child labor laws were a lot looser back then. so.
And I had a large gorilla, stuffed animal gorilla, not a real one. I'm glad I said that because, of course, I had a large gorilla like most people have in
Yeah,
their home.
yeah, of course.
And my neighbor had this large stuffed orangutan. So we got together and decided they needed to get married. And we
course.
invited the entire block, and we had cake. And my mom loved all of that celebration
That's so
and
cute.
finding reasons to celebrate. So it was right up my alley, and I had little, pinafores and other things, and we threw rice. And
We had a wedding a couple weeks
bouquets.
ago, and I officiated, and I got to tell you, it was nothing like that. So I think we had like the really like low rent wedding. I wish I was invited to that one.
Oh no, it was a lot of fun, and and so I enjoy doing that and making things and crafting.
So it's
and
really in you. And
Right.
I always find, like, when we had Frank Ferrer from Guns N' Roses on, and he saw a concert when he was a young boy and said, I want to do that. And there was a spark in him. And most people, when I love talking about different careers and what motivates people and what gets them going, there's always a twinkle. And I know you were a teacher, an educator for many years, and you love children. So it doesn't surprise me you're doing this not-for-profit, also helping little people. But there's always there's usually a sign of something in our past that has either influenced us or helped create that spark that we can kind of go through
Right.
to see how does that connect, because I love when there's those connections that are obvious. Sometimes they're hidden, but usually with time and age they kind of out
Right.
themselves and be like, oh, you were here all along.
Right,
you know?
and the other important thing is to always be adaptable and change.
So talk about that. So how have things evolved for
Well,
you
that's
since you
it.
had
It
your
was
first
like, okay, so
vision?
here I have these, I'm doing, these cupcakes, and I'm thinking, okay, well, really what I need to do is, they need to be about $5 a piece, and really that's more than the market is going to bear. And honestly, that's fair. So how am I going to do what comes easy and rely, and this whole paring down? And I realized that by doing the events and blowing out and actually giving a package of a party to people, therefore I'm creating the other environment. So then at the same time, time, my cupcakes, while I'm providing them,
They're part
can
of
be
it
more
instead.
pared down in a way because
Yeah.
now they're in a context where they don't seem, so maybe now this pirate party would just have the birthday boy would have that one special one where everybody else would just have oceans and things, but it's still with all the other decorations and the different favors, it doesn't seem then as being pared down. It actually
Gotcha.
seems like it's a detail that's enriching the environment and not just,
I didn't get a pirate cupcake.
Right.
Yeah.
So learning to adapt and finding ways of doing that as well. But also, I came at a beginning here. I was first mentioning magazines, and I was in theater before, and
So you've really been able to recreate yourself a few
I
times.
think you need
while
to.
being a mommy.
No,
as
but I think
well,
you have to, right?
and-
Because things
yeah.
change, the markets change, and as far as the business goes, I think if you want to start your own business, you have to always be adaptable. And that was the one thing my uncle was really great at saying. He actually sat me down and gave me a couple of questions like, well, what if this happened and what would you do? And he put me on the spot, and I was like, and I'm nervous and thinking I don't know. And afterwards, he was like, okay, I think you should go at this because I think you're coming at it with the realistic idea that you can have a plan, but you need that plan, and the structure, but then you need to know when you need to break away if it's not working and how to
Interesting.
adjust. And that's maybe because customers change, the market changes.
Yeah.
If you
It also
have
could be what different expectations. You had certain expectations that didn't meet that.
Right,
Or interest,
trends.
life events happen.
Right, and
yeah.
who knows how long I'll be able to be fortunate enough to be doing what I'm doing right now. I mean, but I want to be able to adapt and find a way to make whatever it is that is, that is that kind of work in a way for people that make
So
them
if
happy,
you're going to
right?
share some tips for other people that were going to want to launch their own business, whether it's doing something creatively, like, with their own organic interest,
Right.
like baking or food, or consulting, practice, coaching, anything, like what are a few tips you can share? Because we have about 2
Right.
minutes before
Okay.
our break.
Well, I think the one thing, especially with the creative side of things, I think often, and it's something that I've been guilty of doing before, which is, I'm creative. I just want to create. I don't want to do all that business stuff. It's not me. It's not who I am. And it's
Okay.
like somebody came to me and their advice was, well, you don't get to do the creative unless you do the business. And I thought, oh, that's right. I won't get to if I can't put myself out.
Okay.
So yes, there's going to be aspects of it that don't come easy to you. The job itself, the day-to-day, for me, it's setting up, getting in, putting parties together and centerpieces and arrangements and even some of the baking, that it comes easy. The stuff that doesn't come easy is always how to price myself, how to go to my clients and figure out how to market myself and when I can compromise and when I can't. All those kinds of the business side, putting yourself out there. Is something that I think creative people can often
Shy away
bristle
from,
and
or be
bristle,
like-
and they really need to go and step that up in order to let them do that. So that's one big, I would say, one tip. The other is, of course, perseverance, realizing that
There's
you're
no such
going to
thing
be
as
at it.
overnight success, right?
Nothing.
You have to put
Exactly.
that
I mean, I've
effort.
been doing this now. I started probably around 2007, 2008 when I first started, and so here we are. And it takes time, and it takes building and trying, and first you don't succeed, try again.
And try different variations.
Right,
even.
exactly.
And it sounds like your passion has helped carry through, and as your interest and everything has changed as well, which is great. So we're going to actually be taking a break in a moment. And when we come back, let's dive a little bit into your friendship and your partnership with Take the Cake. And we'll talk about some of the people you're helping and something big you have planned for June. Yes?
Excellent.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
thanks.
So stay tuned. We'll be back after this break with more from the Career Corner.
So you're looking online now? Yeah, great condition. I hate to see her go, but I really just need the cash. Well, the price is still just $1,000, but you have to send the money now, right now. Well, that's why the price is so low. Like I said, I need cash fast. I can't wait on a check or money order. You have to send cash now.
The moment they ask for immediate cash is the moment you know something's wrong. Think before you send money.
Hi, welcome back to the Career Corner. I'm here with my special guests, the co-founders of Take the Cake, Janine Territo and Laura Himmelein. So ladies, please tell us, what is Take the Cake and how did you come up with this great idea?
Take the Cake is an organization where we have birthday parties for kids whose families are not able to have birthday parties for them, either for financial reasons or sometimes a family crisis. And they're nominated by some adult in their life. It could be a child care worker, a teacher, a social worker.
So people submit applications to you all, to you both?
Yes.
And then you kind of get to review and then pick, like, is it like a kid a month almost you do? Or how
That's
does it?
our goal. We're very
Okay.
new. We're
Okay.
just a little over a year old.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Did anyone throw you a party?
No.
If only we knew somebody could do this.
So that is our goal, to be able to do one a month. A lot of time was spent the first year really
Figuring things out,
establishing
I'm sure.
ourselves and
Absolutely, putting
doing a lot of the
together.
business of what we're doing.
Well, it's a big thing, and so so what sparked, something sparked this idea? I know you're an educator, you've been a teacher for many years, you also have a beautiful family with lots of bambinos. So what was the cursor, the precursor that started the spark for you to want to give back to these little guys and celebrate them?
Well, I think I can kind of echo what Laura said, that it's something that is very much a part of my personality and has always been since my kids were little. I loved throwing them a party, and not just, as my creative outlet, but to listen to them and, oh, what are you interested in? And what are your favorite colors? And what kind of food do you like?
I need to
And-
borrow both of you in my life, that's what I
And
realized.
sitting down and saying, so kids, what kind of party you were thinking of having?
Right, and then sort of creating what their idea
Uh-huh.
is and giving them that special time and inviting family and taking pictures and all of that stuff that we can take for granted as something that we can do
Yeah, every
for
year
our
we go
children.
through that, and
Yeah, and sometimes we complain and it's too much time and it's too much money, and which it is always. But it's a privilege, and I think I'm often fascinated by the things that we consider to just be like normal part of family
it's
life.
true. And we assume
parenting.
that everyone gets a birthday party.
And it's really not. It's a privilege, and so I just started thinking about that as I was planning parties for my own children, about what that would feel like to not be able to do that, and to see other children having parties, and to know that your children are going to other people's parties and seeing this, and that it's just such a special time for a whole family to really mark the time going by and the child's interests, and so I thought of this idea, and it percolated for a very long time, and I knew that just based on my own personality and how busy I am, that I needed a partner. I don't work that well alone. I'm a social person, and I've known Laura for quite a while, and I've been aware of all this beautiful
Of
work
her
that
evolution,
she does.
right?
Yes. And one day at a party, I just pulled her aside and said, I've been having these ideas, and what do you think? And she glommed right on.
Yeah, I mean, it was
And
great.
so really, I hadn't done anything except a lot of thinking about it. Sometimes just an idea, it just keeps...
But it has to start from there at some point, right? It
Right.
always it has to.
Exactly.
Yeah, start
and
in-
it kept
in
coming
organically.
back, like I'd be like, oh no, I can't do that because blah, blah, blah.
Yada, 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 yeah.
And then it would come back.
Oh, yes, you
again.
can.
Yes,
Oh, yes,
I
you
can.
can.
And having Laura as a partner made it really feel like, oh, I actually can do this.
So when
Yeah,
she
it was
approached you, when
great.
Janine approached you, Laura, were you like, oh my God, it's amazing? Were you like, oh my gosh, my plate's full? Or like, you know what, we can do this? Like,
No,
what was
I
your-
thought, it's always scary when you have a full plate, but I thought it made so much sense, and I would love it. I love and I want my business to grow, but I thought about how, and I remember when we were early on doing some of our own research, and there was one particular organization that provides kind of a birthday in a box kind of thing with a little present, and they provide them it was a food bank, and how this mother was saying how grateful she was because she was on the way over on the bus going to get food and hoping that maybe there would be some special food there, maybe a cereal or something else that they could just get to sort of mark the celebration of the birthday, because that's all she didn't have the money otherwise. And I thought just how how hard that must be for the kids when they go to other parties or knowing that a birthday they didn't
So it's a very
have.
similar feeling, yeah.
And that
yeah.
feeling of going, oh my gosh, I want to be able to, I want to give parties for everybody. And I want the people that are able to hire me, I'm so grateful for. And so now here's a way that I can give back to those that can't. So they can have a little bit of that. They're really special and they get to have us asking them, so what are you into? What do you like? What kind of
So
party?
you know in advance, so are they surprised or they know it's coming?
Well,
We did have one
yes,
surprise.
Yeah, for the most part, we meet with the family and the child, and just talk.
So you get to really make a fuss over them then and be part of,
yes,
that's
and we
nice. Okay.
congratulate them that they were nominated,
Nominated.
because somebody thought they were really
deserved a
and that they
party.
that they deserved it.
They will never forget that.
And they beam, and they have so many ideas. And once you get, sometimes they're a little shy at first,
Right.
and they're like, oh.
And then an
I-
elephant can come into the room.
And this is not Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah.
We're not bringing in like athletes, and it's
Yes.
it's no bigger than something that we would do for our own children.
Yeah.
But it's special and it's unique, and it's not the most practical plan because it's very individual. It's a lot of time and energy on one child.
How do you guys raise funds for this?
Well, we go to different places to have them sort of give us goods and other services. One
Okay, so some people can donate to help the cause, and they can do
Absolutely,
tax write-off for that.
absolutely.
Okay.
So we get donations. We've had actually some.
And we will take the cake on here so people can see your website,
Oh,
so they
that
can
would
go to
be
your
great.
website, right?
Oh,
And donate. Because I want you,
absolutely.
we
That
have,
would-
we
that
only
would
have
be
like around
wonderful.
7 minutes left, so I want to
Okay.
you to be able to talk about this big event you have going on in
Right.
June, which is beyond just a single birthday party.
Yes, we were quite honored to have the volunteer coordinator, his name is Jenna Malore, at Covenant House in Newark come to us and ask us if we would do a prom for their residents. And their residents
that's so
are
cool.
It was awesome.
They are young adults who've been homeless, they've been trafficked, they've been abused, and they are in this wonderful, loving place, Covenant House, and being given so much training and health care,
And
they're
just
working
advocates
so
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
And many of them didn't go to a high school, or if they did, they didn't get to finish.
So
And
are they getting their GEDs in
they're
Covenant House?
getting
They
their
can.
Okay, cool.
GEDs. And many of them, like we said, they've missed their birthday parties all along. And
Yes.
that a prom is a special milestone for a lot of American teenagers. And Jenna felt like this was a milestone that it would be really special for them to have.
And how many young people
Right.
will be attending, do you think?
About 70.
There's that many, like on campus right now?
Well, they
Covenant
have a
House,
couple
or
of different facilities. There's
Okay.
Covenant House, and then there's a couple of their sort of off-site.
like a step down kind of.
And
place?
depending upon different, there's some that
Okay.
are now in an apartment situation. There are some that are for
That are parents, they have
parents,
children.
children,
with
so
them.
Okay,
they're
yes.
there. But it was a really great opportunity because we wanted to do something for older kids. And the birthdays that we provide, most of it, around 11 or so, the kids aren't as interested in having those kind of
big
specific
theme
theme
thing,
type
yeah.
parties. So we were thinking of ways, what can we do? And I, reached out saying, well, we'd like to do something, maybe a GED party. And this is where she just said, seriously, the very nature of them being here is really, they've earned the
We're
right to having
celebrating, yeah.
a celebration.
And I think, people being thought of in a unique, special way can go so far. And there's a wonderful woman named Mary Vasquez, who was actually my cousin's mother-in-law, who is an educator out of Milburn. And she's retired a few years ago, but she did a big prom for Holocaust survivors.
Oh,
And over, I think, the Crystal House or in Livingston. And they donated, the space, and they had all these people come, and they celebrated them. And she's just a sweet Catholic lady, and she also would take them to the Holocaust Museum in D.C. But they rallied to have all these people come that missed out on something like that were Holocaust survivors. So, you can do
never
so much
too old
good
for
for
your
celebrating.
prom.
No, you're never too old
And
for
never
your
too old to be
prom.
celebrated.
No.
No, and big kids, little kids, everyone loves that, to
And
feel
to
that
feel,
special.
you know, we've been able to meet with some of the kids that are there and kind of get their idea of what they want. And, you know, they want something really fun and glamorous and
Yeah.
special. So we really
What's the
want to do
theme?
that.
What's the prom theme you ladies are
Well,
creating?
it's
Hollywood glamour.
Hollywood glamour.
That's
Okay.
what they kept.
So, you know,
they
they,
kept
want a
circling
little,
back
yeah,
to-
exactly.
They wanted red carpet,
Carpet
and
and-
sparkles and shiny
and shiny and
elegant.
black and white
Yes.
and, you know,
Okay.
dress
Kinda
up and stuff.
upscale.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's really great. So we're working really hard on, you know, making their, you know, sort of dreams come true. And that means that we need a lot of resources, obviously.
Okay.
So that's where
we
we've
have to
done a lot
donate
of...
to take
Yes.
the cake and
Mhm.
help.
We have a
help celebrate.
GoFundMe page set
Okay.
up, which is really great. We've already gotten quite, you know, a nice response from that, and we're going to continue because it takes a lot of, as we said, a lot of dresses, a lot of sparkle,
Yeah.
a lot of this to put it on. We want to have
Yeah,
dresses.
because they need prom dresses, and the guys will need
tuxes.
tuxes. And,
And we, you know, just like with the birthday parties, my vision is that this is just like a prom that other kids would have too.
Mhm.
yeah.
This, you know, so we wanted to have
Food
all,
and punch
all that
and
good,
good
stuff.
music
Exactly.
Right.
DJ.
Exactly.
Right.
DJ.
So we don't want to skimp on it.
Yeah.
And we
So they know it's up and
obviously-
coming then. So
Right, they know it's up and
yeah.
coming,
Okay.
and they're going to do some things to, you know, do some of the some treats and stuff that they're going to like be dipping some. They wanted to like dip strawberries and
strawberries.
chocolate,
Okay.
and they're going to do that. And it's going to be at the facility there too. So that's another thing. We want to really make it that so that this gymnasium is transformed for them. It's
Yeah.
not what they see every day.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we're
you guys can do it.
excited.
If
Oh,
anyone
yeah,
can,
we're totally,
the
we're
Wonder
very
Sisters here can
excited.
definitely can do that.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
really great kids, you know. It's really something to hear them, you know, talk about it and get excited.
We
And so
admire
your last
them.
big group event was when you did the Valentine's party for
Yes.
for which organization again? That was the
Interfaith Hospitality
Okay.
Network, yeah, and that was really a lot of fun. And that was a really fun opportunity for us too, again, because we had some older kids, some younger kids, and it was just a
Were
come
they
in and do a-
surprised about this? Were they surprised or?
I think they knew there was going to be
A little
something,
Okay.
but they didn't get it to the extent. We had a craft
Oh,
and
it
everything.
was-
It was very sweet.
You know, if you could visualize Laura's party, I mean, it was a whole room just
Of hearts and love. You can
beautiful
feel the love
and
a mile
there was
away.
And too much candy.
Oh yeah, good.
much.
candy and crafts and pizza, and I
Yeah,
think
it was
they
fun.
were
It
a
was
little
really
bowled
fun.
That's so
over.
cute. That must
Yes.
the warm fuzzies you guys get from this must be just
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
So when I know that you're under the Rent Party umbrella.
Yes.
For starting this, and you know, is this something that you want to keep growing and add more employees per se to this? Because it's really kind of something like, is it kind of more of a hobby right now? Would you call it kind of a nonprofit hobby, or you know, does it have legs to continue to get a little bigger?
I think we need to be really secure with what our immediate goal is right now before we think about growing. So if we can raise enough funds to be able to do one party per month and feel secure about that, and we're not begging and borrowing every single
Yes.
party, I think that it could grow. It has room. Yeah.
Well, it sure is such a beautiful idea.
I think so too. I
So,
think
and you
it-
obviously you have your website page,
Yeah.
right, that we can read about.
Absolutely.
And we can help fund you and get updates on
Yes.
all your great things. So we're just about out of time. See, it goes fast when there's so many
I
good things to
know,
discuss.
yes.
So thank you both, and best of luck with your continued success for your special business and for together all the smiles and the joy you guys are creating. That's really really beautiful. So
thank
good luck
you.
with
Thank
that.
you so much for having
Yes.
us.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thanks.
And thank you all for tuning in to hear more from the Career Corner. You can please check out us on YouTube. And until we meet again, I wish you much career success.